So welcome back. Here's another example that's in supplemental materials that help you talk about relative paths. I mean, if I'm trying to copy a file from this son directory to that parent directory, how do you do it? Anyway, they have some examples, and yeah, I will tell you that this example right here will appear in many quizzes to include the final exam. So one of the things that would be kind of cool if we had a way to graphically show the directory structure just like we did. So there's a command called tree, which in theory would show you all the things. So I'm going to type the word tree and just hit return. And it's going to come back and say, I don't actually have a tree. So I'm going to do kind of sort of what they said to do here. I'm going to do it quite somewhat similar. I changed the things a little bit. I'm going to do sudo apt get. I tend to use the low-level versions. Install tree. Okay, now I'm going to type tree. And it gives me a graphical view of all this stuff. It's went a little too fast for me, and there's lots of stuff up there. But all of my content is in that green folder, which is the one that's mapped over to my other machine. I don't actually have any other drives, any other files, if you recall. Okay, so the tree command is pretty cool. It allows you to figure things out. So for example, if I'm in the SOSOS directory and I want to go up, then I just tell the machine I want to go up. Okay. Well, let's do something else. I'm going to do tree, and I'm going to start at the root, okay, giving it a space and then the slash, meaning the very root of the tree. Now, you can probably imagine this is going to be a really long list, wouldn't you think? Okay, so I'm going to do that. And so I'm thinking, okay, I've seen enough. I want to stop. So I'm going to do a Control-C. Now, Control-C means stop what you're doing and the current task, whatever that thing is to. So remember we talked about Control-C and Control-V, from the Windows world, where one was copy and one was paste. Control-C does not do a copy, and instead it halts whatever process is going on. If you did something like this, when you've gone, oh my God, I didn't want that, stop. You do Control-C and it'll stop you cold. Cool beans? Okay, tree minus L2 slash basically means give me only the second level. So in other words, it doesn't descend into every single possible one, which have been a huge list. Okay, so we've learned a couple of ways you can use the tree command to show things. All right, the machine keeps track of where you are, and one of the cool things you can do is say pwd stands for print working directory. The working directory tells me where I am. And so to navigate up and down, I need to be able to tell it. So navigating up is easy because there's a synonym for going up, and it's ... Okay? So if I want to do CD, that means change directory. ... That means go up one. Now you can see my prompt has changed. See how my prompt has changed a little bit? Now if I do pwd, it's going to say I'm at the home directory. If I wanted to go up one more time, CD ... Now I'm at the root of the file structure. If I did an ls, it's going to show me all the things that are at the root. Okay, cool. Now let's see if we can figure out how to get back down, because going up was easy. I just did a ... Okay? But going down, I have to tell it which one because it can't figure it out. So I want to do a CD home. And now that I'm at home, I want to do a CD emit gray. Okay? Cool. Now, I could have combined all that together, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to do a CD slash, which gives me all the way up to the top. Okay, see? All right. Now I want to go to home emit gray. So I'm going to do CD, and I could say slash home emit gray. Right? In other words, start at the top and then go to the home, and then after you got to the home, go to there. That works. And so if I did pwd, it worked. Hooray! I'm going to go back. Except this time I'm going to say CD home without the beginning slash emit gray. Is that going to work? Yeah. And the reason is, if you start a path with a slash, it means forget about where you are. We don't care where you are. I want to start at the top. If it doesn't start with a slash, it means relative to where you are. Well, I happen to be at the root. So if I'm at the root, that's the same thing as saying slash, right? Okay. So let's try this again. So now I'm at PWD, and I want to do that again. I want to do CD home Emmett Gray. What's going to happen now? You know, without the slash, right? What's going to happen? It's going to come back and say, I don't know what the heck you're talking about. There's no such folder called home at the current location. Because what that basically told me is change directory to from where you are, relative to where you are, to go down to something called home. Well, I don't have anything called home. All I have is something called temp. So, okay, kind of makes sense. So, going down, you have two choices. You can give it what's called an absolute path, which starts at the top, or you can give it a relative path, which starts from where you are. Now, there's an abbreviation for the relative path, although typically you don't have to use it very often, and it's a single dot. A single dot basically says where you are, okay? So in an odd way, let me go back up here to CD home. Okay, now if I said CD / Emmett Gray, okay, that would essentially be the same thing as saying, let me just do this over again. That'd be essentially the same thing as saying Emmett Gray. In other words, the two are the same, right? I don't have to go in and give it a dot, because if I just leave off the slash, then the machine assumes that I'm at dot, meaning the current location. Okay, for some reason, this is complicated. A lot of people just can't wrap their head around it very often. But it's something that we're going to have to learn. Okay. One of the things that we do an awful lot, let me go ahead and go to my home directory, is the ls command. We use that a lot. So here's ls. So I'm going to do an ls -a. And the a command means all. Show me everything. Well, so I have something called dot, which is, right, the current directory. Something called dot bash history, dot bash h, dot GNU upgrade, dot issues, blah, 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 that bash login, dot cache, dot profile, and temp. Okay, so A essentially means all. And so, you know how in the Windows world you had an attribute on files. You could go in there and say, I want this file to be hidden, right? Well, the way you make a file hidden in our world is start with a dot in the file name. By the way, the dot in the file name has got nothing to do with what we were just talking about before. Okay, this is just a coincidence. So the .bash RC file has always been there. We just haven't been able to see it. Okay, I'm going to do an ls -a -l. L means give me the long listing, and you can see a bit more. So now I get to see that the bash history, and you get to see how big it is and what the file creation dates are and things of that nature. Okay, kind of cool. All right, so excuse me. So let's do some more about with the dot and the dot thing. I know this is a little weird. Okay, so I'm going to do, let's do cd user bin. Okay, now if I did cd ... where would I be? By the way, does that sound like a test question to you guys? Well, obviously I'm going to be at USR. Whoa, PWD. Right? Okay. So it kind of makes sense. Hey, so ... means go up. What happened if I'm already at the top? Okay. So now I'm at the top. And I say, I want to go above that. Is the machine going to freak out and go, whoa, 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 you can't go above root? Or is it going to say, we know what you meant. What do you think? What do you think? No errors. It just says, look, dude, you know, we know what you had in mind here, so don't panic. Okay? So it's not an error to attempt, but it didn't go anywhere. I mean, obviously it's going to be exactly the way where it was before. Basically, it just ignored. Okay. So here's some cool synonyms that you can use. One of the things you can use is CD tilde. Tilde is the abbreviation for your home directory, and you've seen it before. You've seen it in the command prompt. See how we have the little tilde guy? That tilde guy has always been there. So tilde means, so I don't have to type /home/Emmett Gray. I could just type CD tilde and it brings me right there. Kind of makes sense. So it's a cool little trick. There are some other ones. If I'm going to go to someplace else. I'm going to go to, I don't know, user bin. And I'm going to just type CD by itself with nothing. That also brings me to my home directory. So the tilde is useful for getting me my home directory. It's also useful for combining to a file path. The CD by itself brings me to my home directory, but that's not useful for combining with file paths. There's another one called CD minus. Minus basically means, it remembers where you were. Like, it's kind of sort of like a stack. So if I did CD minus, it's going to bring me back to whatever directory I was in before I changed it. Isn't that pretty cool? What about CD plus? Oh man, that don't work. Okay, there's one more, which is kind of weird, is that you can use the tilde to get to other people's home directories. So let's say you had a home directory, you had a person called Bob, all right? And I wanted to go look at their stuff. I could do CD tilde, tilde. Come on. Come on. Doggone it. What the heck's going on here? Okay, tilde Bob. Now, I don't have anybody called Bob, so that's not going to work. But tilde Bob is a way. So, but I do have my own. So here's a weird one. This is totally unnecessary. But you could say, right, that. Okay. So that's what? 3 ways you can get to your home directory. One is CD by itself. One is CD tilde. And what is CD tilde with your name? All of them bring you back to your home directory. Okay. Let's talk about file names one more time. So file names, of course, if you want it to be hidden, you start the file name with a dot. Okay. I mean, it's not really hidden, just like in Windows, when you hide a file, you can say, show me hidden folders, right? Hidden files. Right? Same thing here. If I do ls-a, it's going to show me all of them. So I can choose which one I want to show normally and which ones I don't want to show. The file names are case sensitive, so they're not the same thing. For example, if I said CD into, let's do, it's going to say, I don't know what the heck you're talking about, right? Because everything is case sensitive here. Cool? All right. There are no file name extensions. We kind of mentioned that before. So if I create a file with a .txt, I mean, you can go ahead and create a file with a .txt. It's just the machine's not going to have any idea what you're talking about. It's perfect for the human. If the poor human wants to see a file name extension, then just go right ahead. But the machine does not care. Okay, the file, you could put file names with spaces, but for God's sakes, don't do it. It's a pain in the butt, and you have to put everything in quotes to be able to deal with them. So it's just not worth it. So basically, when you're getting ready to name a file, stick with the period, dash, and an underscore. So letters and numbers, period, dash, and underscore. Nothing else. Okay, we're coming up on the 15-minute mark, so we'll see you again in just a few.